I'm Sarai.
And I'm Haley.
And this is Seamwork Radio. Welcome back to Seamwork Radio, where we share practical ideas for building a creative process so you can sew with intention and joy. And today we've got a special Sewing Roundup episode for you where we talk about the things we're making, what we're excited about, what new things we're trying, and answer some listener questions. All right. Well, let's get into our listener question for today, Haley. This one comes from Carrie, and she says, what do you do with the garments you make that you don't really like? I always have one or two fails, but I have a hard time getting rid of them right away. So what do you do with garments that you've decided that you don't really care for, that you've spent time on?
Well, it depends on why I don't like it.
Mm-hmm.
So, there's like a few different routes I can take. If I don't like it because it's simply not my style, I will always try and give it away to a friend first, because sometimes it feels easier to separate from. So I'm not overly sentimental about the things that I make, so maybe I'm a bad person to give this advice. But it always feels nicer to give it to someone who you know and who's going to enjoy it. If I don't like it because I don't like the fit, but I like everything else about it, I will likely try and rework it. Or like turn it into something else, cut up the fabric, use it for quilts or something. Or I'll just Goodwill it.
Yeah.
I'm not overly sentimental about it. I think that this is because I just think that I have yet to have my best idea, and I've yet to make my best thing. And I don't say that in a conceited way. I just think that the more you practice creativity, the more creative you are, and that allows me to be not overly precious about it. And I'm not going to waste more time trying to make something work that's just not going to work. I'm going to try and not be wasteful with the materials, but I'm also not going to let it languish in my that's wasteful too in a different way.
Yeah.
That's my approach.
Yeah. I think that's a good way to be. I feel like if you can still enjoy the process of making something, even if the end result isn't exactly what you want, then that's a really important step, I think, that makes it, I don't know, just makes sewing more enjoyable.
Yeah, I'm not saying don't be outcome focused, but I think that if we take a little bit of the emphasis off of that piece of it, that we can find a little bit more enjoyment and less pressure in our sewing.
Yeah. I think that's a really good lesson. I personally have a hard time getting rid of anything, not just things I've made, but anything. But it's something that I work at. So I do have a hard time. I was looking at my closet this morning as I was picking out what I was going to wear, and I saw a bending dress that I made a few years ago, which I still really like. It's very pretty. It's like a cornflower blue, but I just don't wear that color that much anymore. And I was thinking about it. Should I get rid of it? What should I do with it? And I actually have a basket in my office where my closet is, and it's kind of like my purgatory for things that I've made. And I will just put things in there. Sometimes you change your mind, and maybe it's not your style right now, but it is in another year. And then sometimes you look at it in another year and you think, well, I don't even miss this thing. I can probably just get rid of it. So that can be a nice kind of intermediate step if you're like me and have a hard time getting rid of things that you've made. I have a harder time personally with things that I've knit, just because they take so long.
That makes sense to me.
Knit. But with knitting, you can also unravel it and reuse the yarn. So that's always an option as well, if you can handle the emotional turmoil that comes with that. But that's what I try to do. I just put them into closet purgatory for a while. The basket that I'm talking about pretty much only has handmade things in it. Everything else I can bring myself to get rid of pretty easily. I don't need to put it in purgatory. But with my makes, it's hard. I have a lot of emotion tied up in them. And I guess it's that I still love them in my own way, even if I don't wear them. I still have love for them because I took the time to make them. And even if they maybe were a little bit disappointing, I still have feelings about them. So it takes a while to break up.
Yeah. I totally understand where like the feeling comes from. I think it's because I had a mom who just got rid of everything.
Not me. Not me.
And so I felt like I could never get overly attached to things. It's like a protective measure.
I don't think my mom has ever gotten rid of anything since the time I was a baby.
Oh, that stresses me out.
Yeah. That's not exactly true, but they have a house with a lot of stuff in it.
Uh-huh. Yeah. I get that. Well, let's talk about like a fun sewing prompt.
Okay.
What if you were going to make pants for spring right now, what would you sew?
Oh, that is a good question. I've been thinking a lot about this because I planned my spring wardrobe and I didn't have a single pair of pants in there, but I wear pants a lot in the cooler months, so they're like a big part of my wardrobe. So I was thinking, should I have planned some spring pants?
Mm-hmm.
I think if I were going to sew some right now, I would want to do like a really classic trouser, a pleated trouser in linen.
Oh,
I think that would be really nice. I have a pair of linen trousers that I really like in the warmer months, in spring especially. And they're not pleated. They're just kind of a flat front trouser, and I got them at a secondhand store at some point. And I really, really like them, and I'd like to have a pair. They're like a natural color linen.
Oh, yeah. My fave.
It just goes with everything. Very, very classic. That or white, I think, is just so nice in the springtime. So I think I would make something like that. But I used to have a pair of ready-to-wear pants that were just like a pull-on elastic waist trouser in like a twill, the white, like really soft white twill. And I got rid of them because they didn't look that good on me. They were just really comfortable. So I've been thinking about finding something that still makes me feel like not too schlumpy, but is comfortable like that. So that would be my other choice, would be like a comfy, soft pair of pants like that.
I feel like birch would be great for that.
Yeah, that would be really nice.
Because it has the flat front, the elastic back, it has that pin tuck, so they feel trousery.
Yeah. That would be a good pattern. There's just so many good pants patterns we have right now. I think it would be hard to choose, but that would be my general look I would go for. What about you?
I too have no pants plans on my spring sewing list. Lots of like skirts and dresses. I'm just like kind of like, it's cold right now. I'm tired of wearing pants.
Yeah.
Like, free the leg. But that's not really realistic because the spring is, at least where we live, is still fairly chilly, and I do wear pants all the time. Jeans, mostly, but it's nice to have a break from jeans. I feel like if I were to make a pair of pants for spring, I would make something that is a stand-in for jeans. I think like the Nolan would be great in like an off-white twill. It has like some kind of utilitarian details that I feel like make it feel denim adjacent. I might even like end up adding some of my own, like some reinforcing the front panels with some like patches or something. I don't know. Something like that I think would be really cute because I would wear it with like denim shirts and t-shirts and jackets and cardigans. I think that's what I would sew.
Ooh, that gave me another idea, which is I'm revisiting an idea I had maybe last year that I didn't think about, which is making some gardening pants.
Ooh, yeah.
Which would be really cool. Like, I saw this pair of gardening pants. They're made by a British company that I cannot recall right now, but they have built-in padding in the knees. because I often wear knee pads when I garden,
Mhm.
but they look pretty dorky. I think having like built-in padding in the knees so you don't have to wear separate knee pads that would be so cool. And then they had a ton of pockets and
Mhm.
loops for all of your tools and things like that. And I think that would be awesome.
How I look when I'm gardening is none of my business.
Yeah,
is what
that's
I've
true.
decided.
I don't really care, but it would be fun to make something
It would
like
be
that.
fun. Like the challenge, like the design and technical challenge of it would be really fun.
Yeah. Yeah. That's true. I mean, I look like a dork when I'm gardening and I really don't care, but it would be so fun to have like fancy gardening clothes that you made.
Yeah. Yeah. My favorite like gardening activity is like in the summertime when all I have to do is just like water the garden and I can just like go out in like my flowy summer dress and like live the fantasy.
Uh-huh.
I don't have to do the dirty work.
Yeah, mostly I'm filthy and covered in mud and sweating. And
on those days, it's like I thrift men's like button ups and wear those with a big ugly hat.
Yeah, I've been looking for a men's like oversized wool sweater for gardening. I don't even care if it has holes in it. I just want like a big warm sweater for gardening that I don't care if it gets dirty. And I don't know, I can't find it in thrift stores. I don't know why.
Okay,
I think wool is hard to come by these days. Everything's acrylic, so that's the hard part.
I'll keep an eye out for you.
Okay. I might just wait for one of Ken's sweaters to get a hole in it and claim it as my own. All right. Well, we had a lot of answers for that question.
So many ideas.
Well, let's talk about what we're sewing now. What are you working on now? And what are you excited to sew next?
Okay, what I'm working on now is a pattern that's coming out next month, so in May. So I won't share the specifics of it, but it is a knitwear basic. And I found a really cute fabric at a local sewing store at Bolt. It was labeled as a sweater knit. To me, it looks like a pointel that has stretch.
Ooh.
Has like spandex, and it also has like a little rayon, and I think a little in cotton and a little bit of a synthetic. So it has like a little loft to it. It's like the weight of a jersey plus, I will call it. So I bought that fabric, but then I pulled out some knit like jersey that's just been hanging out in my stash for a while, and I'm going to batch sew a couple of them.
Nice.
And some of this fabric is so old, I don't even remember if I pre-washed it or not. So I re-washed everything this weekend. And that's what I am going to be working on next. And I'm excited for everyone to see the pattern in May.
That's nice.
What about you? What are you working on?
Well, I just finished last night. I made a posy dress, which is her newish surplice wrap dress. And I made that in a rayon gauze fabric that's it has a white background and then it has little bright pink roses all over it. It's really cute. Very, very cute. It came out really, really well. And I'm super excited to wear it. It did stretch out a little bit. I was telling you, Haley, on the hem sleeves when I sewed those because I forgot to use Wonder Tape, which I almost always do on hems where the fabric might stretch out. But it doesn't really matter. You can't really tell. They just look a little bit more fluttery than they otherwise would.
It's a design detail.
Yeah, I'll pretend it's a design detail, but otherwise it's really cute. And it was kind of a wearable muslin because I have another fabric that I'm really excited to use for it. So that's something I'm excited to sew after this, which is like a pink rayon jacquard. So it's kind of a peachy pink, and then it has, maybe not a peachy pink, but a warm pink, and it has blossoms all over in a jacquard weave. Cute. So it's very spring-like and really pretty. So I'm excited about that, and I'm gonna do like a really cool scallop detail along the edges, so along the wrap edges and on the hems. So I'm excited about that one. But I have a whole bunch of projects planned that I'm really excited about. I'm excited to make the orchid bed jacket pretty soon as well. I bought some lace that I'm waiting for it to arrive. And I bought a couple different colors, so I'm get to kind of play with fabric and color and see what goes with what, and that's going to be really, really fun. But that's coming down the line. I just have so many projects I'm excited about right now.
Spring is such a fun season to sew for.
Yeah, it really is. You kind of get, all the weather, all the things all at once. So it's fun. Things that you're going to wear with tights, things you're going to wear without tights, things you can take into summer, things even take into fall. So
yeah, the world just also feels like so like ripe with possibilities and inspiration for that time of year. So I think that also makes it like particularly compelling to think about.
Yeah, it's true. It really is a rebirth because I always think this every summer and every winter. I think it's like living where, at least where we live, our seasons are pretty different. So it just feels like you're living in two different worlds at different times of year because summer is just so different from winter here. So I feel like spring is that time where you're making that transition and it's very exciting.
Yeah, I think we both grew up in Southern California where there's not huge differences between the seasons. So that difference feels like so much more striking.
Yeah.
When that's like your point of reference.
Yeah. Because it's not just the temperature, it's everything around
everything. It feels like living in a different city.
Yeah, it really does. It's like the plant life is different, the animal life is different, the light is different, the length of the day is very different. So it's interesting.
Yeah. Sari, what's something new that you're trying lately?
Oh gosh, something new that I'm trying lately is I don't know if I mentioned this last time we did one of these episodes, that I think I had mentioned that I reread Writing Down the Bones last time. And so I've been trying to do some timed writing exercises in the morning. I'm not making it to every morning, but I'm trying to do it more just to get back in the habit of journaling every day. And I'm really enjoying that. So she recommends, just setting a timer and writing for the length of the timer. So it's kind of like morning pages. But I like having the timer. Morning pages, you just write a certain number of pages. But I like having the timer because you just feel like even if you don't feel like writing, you're like, okay, I can do 15 minutes and, step away from whatever I'm doing and just sit down and do this. And writing is such an interesting experience for me, and I think for a lot of people, because you don't necessarily know what you're going to say when you sit down. You might just start by talking about your day or whatever, but by the end of it, your thoughts have kind of worked themselves out. It's kind of like undoing a knot. And then by the end of it, you're like, oh, I didn't even realize I was thinking about this, or I hadn't made that connection until I wrote it down. It could be the same with talking with somebody as well. But for me, it's been really, really helpful for just kind of undoing some of my, not undoing, but unraveling some of my thinking.
Yeah.
So it's been really fun. So that's something I would recommend other people try if you enjoy writing or journaling.
I love that.
What about you?
I've been doing something kind of like, I would say, adjacent, and I've been having timed quiet time. I was journaling through, actually, like, I'm in a phase of my life that is very overstimulating to me. And so I was journaling, and I was that was the knot I was unraveling, is like, what is it that feels so taxing about this moment in my life right now? And it was like the constant overstimulation.
Yeah.
And it feels relentless. I feel relentlessly overstimulated. And so I decided to come up with some ideas for how to reduce stimuli. Reducing like screen time and things like that are all like great things. We all know this.
Yeah.
And I have been putting more things into practice, but I also decided that I was going to have scheduled quiet time every day, where not only do I not have access to a screen, I'm intentionally not put like no input. My go-to for quiet time is reading. And that's like great, but it's like another way of like, I don't want to say like numbing my mind, but it's I'm choosing someone else's thoughts over my own.
Yeah,
in
it's
some ways.
transportative. Yeah.
And I felt like I needed to spend more time with my inner world.
Mm-hmm.
And so I've been sometimes just sitting in absolute silence doing nothing. Sometimes I draw.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes I write. Those are my 3 options, though. And I have to do one of them. And I've been doing this at the beginning of my day and at the end of my day every day for at least 15 minutes. And it's been very helpful.
That's
I highly
great.
recommend it.
That's great. I'm a big believer in that. I've been a daily-ish meditator for like 20 years, and it really is, I think, there's a lot of reasons I do it, which I won't go into right now, but one of the byproducts of it, I think, is just nervous system regulation.
Totally.
And, we're so overstimulated. Like, no matter what your circumstances in life, you probably feel that way just because of the amount of input we're all subject to.
Sure.
And I feel like just having some time to slow down your brain and not have things going into it, being fed into it, and having to process them all the time is so helpful.
Yeah, I've been really like an on and off again meditator for maybe 10 years. I think that I had made it a point that like I have activities that are meditative, and that's like great. And it's not to say that I don't believe in those things still. I still love like sewing and knitting and all of those things, but they're structured.
Mm-hmm.
And I needed some things that were less structured to like help me kind of like I needed processing time.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely.
What about you? Or you told me what you're working on, your new thing, your pages or your timed time.
Yeah. Let's talk about what's something else that we want to recommend to people, though. Do you have something else?
I started reading just last week a book I've been wanting that's been like on my to read list for a long time is the Anam Cara by John O'Donohue.
Mm-hmm.
It's like came out in the late 90s. It's been around for a long time. And I had attempted reading it when I was on maternity leave a couple years ago. I can't do it turns out when I'm sleep deprived, I can't think about like spirituality and philosophy. But I can now. So I've been reading that and I've really been enjoying it. I've been enjoying the circular nature of the writing, which feels very natural to the way that as humans we want to relate concepts to one another. So I've been enjoying that so far, and I'm not finished, but I would recommend it.
Well, I really like John O'Donohue.
So lovely.
Yeah.
Such a beautiful writing style. It feels like a warm hug.
Yeah. Yeah. I really enjoy his writing.
Like being hugged by a friend who's just like so much smarter than me. I love it.
Yeah. I'm gonna have to pick that one. I haven't read it, so I'm really interested.
Oh yeah, I recommend it.
My recommendation is also a book, which I'm also not quite finished with, but I'm almost finished with, which is Journal of a Solitude by May Sarton. So May Sarton was a poet and memoirist, and this book was written in the 70s when she was in her late 50s. And she's living alone in a house in New Hampshire, and sounds like kind of in the country. And it's about just her day-to-day life. And it's just really her journal. It's about her day-to-day life and what it's like to live alone, and her kind of relation with herself and the world. And I find it very touching. She's very vulnerable in it. She's not shy about talking about her neuroses, and she's just a beautiful writer and has so many interesting things to say that come out of her day-to-day life and very like what you might think of as kind of mundane circumstances. So I find it really inspiring. She wrote a lot of memoirs up into her 80s. So there's one she wrote in her 70s. There's one that she wrote in her 80s. There's one she wrote after having a stroke, about life after having a stroke. I think she's just a tremendous writer. So if you're interested in that kind of thing, I highly recommend it. It's called Journal of a Solitude by May Sarton. She also wrote a book that I've purchased and I'm going to read next called Plant Dreaming Deeply, which she wrote right before Journal of a Solitude, I believe, or a few years before. So, yeah, she's a great writer.
Ooh, lots of good books.
Yeah. All right. Well, let's get back to sewing. We're going to do a little segment called Fabric of the Month and talk a little bit about a fabric that I actually have a project plan that I'm going to be sewing in this fabric, which is denim. I just think denim feels perfect for spring because it's so versatile and it works in a lot of different weather conditions, but I think it works really well for spring, either as a jacket, maybe even a shirt, a skirt, jeans. It's really easy to, I guess because it's so versatile, you can wear it with so many different things and you can stay warm in it, but you can also kind of keep cool in it. So that's why we chose denim for this month. So let's talk about our top tips for, first of all, choosing denim, and then what about sewing with denim? So let's start with choosing. Do you have any tips for when you're choosing denim?
Yeah, I would say that my top tip for choosing denim, if you're a person like me who loves denim and like sewing with denim, I recommend one of the main things that will be used to describe denim when you're purchasing it online, which I think a lot of us are these days, is the weight of the denim.
Yeah.
And in the US, we use ounces to describe weight. I recommend, if you can, getting a handful of swatches of various weights to use that as a reference when you are purchasing denim online. You don't need to have like every single ounce, but like maybe get 4 ounce, 8 ounce, 10 ounce, 12 ounce, something like that. This is going to be like a really helpful reference to you when you're purchasing online, in determining what kind of weight will be appropriate to what kinds of garments. You can use those swatches and compare them to things that you have in your closet to make sure you're choosing something that you like the weight of, because certain weights suit certain garments better, but also there is a little bit of just like personal preference woven in there.
Yeah. I think that's a great tip. I think denim is one of those things, if you are shopping for denim, it's one of the things that does benefit from shopping in person if you can. So if you have that option, it's just really, there are big differences between different types of denim, not just in, weight and quality, but also in color and getting just the right wash that you want. There are denims that are more of like a darker indigo, almost gray color, or you can go for a really like true blue color, and get like a pretty different look. So if you're looking for something that's more specific, I think being able to shop in person is really helpful. And if you can't, like Haley's saying, swatches are super helpful, just for making sure that you're getting exactly what you want. And then when it comes to sewing with denim, I have a lot of tips for sewing with denim. We're actually doing a video about denim pretty soon, so you might want to check that out. It's probably out by the time you're listening to this. But I think for me, the top things for sewing with denim are getting rid of bulk is the hardest thing. So I like to spend a lot of time at my pressing station when I'm sewing with denim. Make sure to use a lot of steam. I like to make sure that I'm using my clapper very religiously. So what you do with a clapper is you press your iron against the fabric for just a few seconds like you normally would, get some steam going. Then you replace it with the clapper and you apply pressure with the clapper, and you can hold the clapper against the fabric for much longer than you could hold the iron against the fabric, because the iron would obviously burn the fabric if you hold it for too long. So it allows you to apply a lot of pressure and trap the steam into your fabric and really flatten out those seams. for a longer period of time. So that's I think one of the most important things when sewing with denim, and it'll also make it easier to sew through multiple layers if you need to. Another tool I really like with denim is using a hump jumper. If you haven't used one, it's just a little piece of plastic, and it goes underneath the back of your presser foot. So if you are sewing and you come up to a big join in your seam, so let's say it's like the crotch seam on a pair of denim pants, and you've got multiple layers there, all converging in one place, and you know how your presser foot will kind of tilt at that point and find it hard to get over that hump. The hump jumper goes in the back of your presser foot, so that evens it out again so that it can sew just straight across. And it's very, very helpful when you're sewing with denim. So if you don't have one of those, I highly recommend it. So those are a couple of my quick tips.
Yeah, I think that the bulk is really a big thing that most people struggle with on their like domestic sewing machines when they're sewing denim at home. I think that my tips that I would add on to that are going to make the bulk easier to contend with on your sewing machine. Make sure that you're using the appropriate needle on a heavyweight fabric like denim. I will change my needle mid-project as well. A walking foot is also really helpful to help evenly feed that heavy fabric. And make sure that you're using a long stitch length, even for your construction, not just for your top stitching. A longer stitch length is actually going to be more durable and just give you like a overall better finish.
Yeah. Those are great tips. So if you're sewing with denim, be sure to check out that video that we're putting together, because I think it'll offer even more.
It's a great fabric. I'm obsessed with denim.
I love denim too.
You know, my other tip is when you find a denim wash and weight that you love, just buy all of it.
Extra, yeah.
Because I don't know about you, but I have like pretty reliable taste in denim. Like I have like 2 washes that I really love. So when I find one I like, I just buy tons of it.
Yeah. I'm a dark wash girl. I like dark wash for
I like
my
a
denim.
blue wash. I want something that's like pretty blue. All right, let's talk about what's going on at Seamwork.
Yeah, let's talk about our new patterns.
Yeah.
You want to share them with us?
Oh my gosh, you guys, I'm obsessed with our 2 new patterns.
Me too.
This month.
I love them.
They're my favorite. So first up, we have Freesia. Freesia's a pull-on bias cut dress with a keyhole neckline. I should say that it's semi-bias cut because the bodice and the tie are actually cut on the straight of grain. It is the skirt that's cut on the bias. You have beautiful gathers to shape the bust, and it's just so lovely. I feel like the combination of like using both grain lines really allows you to get the best of both worlds. You get that stability up in the bust and the shoulder, which in the armhole, which can be sometimes a little bit more challenging if you're working with bias. To have that flexibility in the shoulder and in the armhole can sometimes work against you a little bit. So you have that structure up top, but then you have like the really graceful bias cut for the skirt. I feel, to me, the dress gives like a subtle 1990s vibe in the best possible way. I think that it's one of my favorite things from our spring lineup. And it's going to work beautifully in any light to medium weight fabrics, lawns, batiste, seersucker, linen, chalets, crepes. And you can also use it on more special occasion fabric like charmeuse or a crepe de chine would be lovely. Then we have Orchid, which is a boxy tie front bed jacket with lace trim. It has a straight fit throughout the body, beautiful, wide, kind of 3/4 length sleeves. And then we have a lovely lace edge finish along the cuffs of the sleeve and then along the neckline and center front. This is also a place where you'll want to use a light to medium weight fabric, lawn, cotton gauze, voile, Swiss dot. Even eyelet would be
I
lovely.
think eyelet would be so pretty. I was
So
really
pretty.
torn. I kind of wanted to make mine an eyelet.
The member bonus also features like a short sleeve that has a little drawstring, and I think that version in particular would be so beautiful in an eyelet.
That would be really pretty.
You could also, again, use a little bit more special fabrics like a georgette or a chiffon would really like lean into the vintage lingerie inspiration behind this pattern. Both of these are just so beautiful and feminine and romantic, but also like incredibly wearable.
Yeah.
Which I think just makes them absolute winners in my book.
Yeah, I love a light cover up for the warmer months. It's so practical.
I have like a couple different versions in mind because I just feel like it's a very versatile piece. I can see myself wearing it like day to day in like a cotton lawn, or making maybe a little bit drapier, slinkier, sexier one for a date night. It's a winner.
Yeah, it's so pretty.
We also talked a little bit about denim in this episode. We actually have a video on our YouTube channel now on denim. So if you want to learn more about sewing with it, I definitely recommend heading over there to check that out. And we also have a recent skills workshop on bound buttonholes that you can now watch the recording of and learn to create bound buttonholes with Erica, who is a phenomenal teacher. If I have a sewing question, I'm asking Erica. So, she's the real deal.
She is.
So go check that out. And our upcoming workshop is actually Design Your Wardrobe, which is going to start soon. So you can head to seamwork.com to learn more about that and join us in all the Design Your Wardrobe fun.
Yeah. And if you're thinking about your upcoming projects for the season, be sure to download our free wardrobe design toolkit. It'll give you kind of a preview of Design Your Wardrobe. So it has a lot of the materials from the class, a lot of the worksheets, and it'll give you kind of an intro, a little taste of it. You'll be able to start planning your wardrobe and really kind of take advantage of that and see if Design Your Wardrobe might be for you. I personally think it is so fun to do it alongside a whole group of people and see what everybody else is making and share what you're making at the same time. So it's a really fun program. If you haven't participated in one of our past seasons, this one is going to be a lot of fun because, like we've been saying, spring is fun to design for. And if you liked this episode, please consider leaving us a review. We would love to hear from you. You can leave a 5-star review on Apple Podcasts, or if you just want to leave us a comment on Spotify, you can do that. And if you have an icebreaker for a future episode, let us know there. And you can also follow us on YouTube at Seamwork Video. You can follow us on Instagram at Seamwork. And if you'd like to become part of the Seamwork community and participate in Design Your Wardrobe coming up, head over to seamwork.com to learn how to join. And that's it for us this week. I'm Sarai.
And I'm Haley.
And this is Seamwork Radio.